This episode sponsored by Lake Monster Details, producing the Don's Light and Magic Legacy line of parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow. Also sponsored by GCals, producing aftermarket replacement decals and custom quality graphics for your favorite spaceships. Visit www.gcals.company.site and add some personalization to your sci-fi models today. What's up, guys? Will here. Welcome back to Model from the Institute. This is episode 3 of the 1/4 scale Aoshima Airwolf build. And this episode we're going to go ahead and finish up the cockpit. We're going to get that done. I do have some SMDs on order, so I've got to wait for those to come in to really finish up the cockpit because I want to light it up. And I've done some testing with it. I posted a picture on my Facebook page of some testing for the backlighting of the panels and the monitor screens and all that. They're going to light up really nice, actually, it turns out. So, but I need some SMDs because I've got these 3mm, and I've even got some 1.5mm SMDs. But I want, there's a couple spots where I'm pretty sure it's going to have to be an SMD to fit in there. It's going to be pretty tight. So, I got some of those on order. They should be here next week. So, I should be able to get that done and get this lit up and show it on the next episode. So, we're going to work on getting that done. There are some really tiny parts I'm going to say coming up in this next section. So hope you got a set of tweezers. But at any rate, give me a minute. I'll put you on the bench. We'll get to work. Alright guys, so we're finishing up stage 6 here. And I've gotten this computer screen pretty much taken care of. But remember, I had to put the figures in before I could put that screen in. So bring the light over here. Got my figures all painted up, and they're all in place. And you see I've got that laptop, just the keyboard in there right now. That's the only part you had to get in before you could, or you had to get the figure in before you could put that in. So it's all done up. I painted, just put a little detail into the figures. For the most part, you're not going to see too much of them once I put the once we put this inside. So, but they turned out pretty good. And with those figures done, and I will tell you too that there is a difference between these figures. They're not the same. The figure in the back, put my light over it in. Figure in the back for the keyboard has both of his arms have the palms down. I know this camera doesn't do good at zooming or focusing in, but whereas the figure in the front here has the left arm has a palm down, pretty much the same as this one, but the right arm curves in to grab the controller there. So it does matter where these figures go, just to let you know. So that's what they look like in position there. Dominic back there tapping away on the keyboard, getting ready to pull the throttle back. So we've got that in place. I've got my figures painted up. The colors for the figures are pretty good. Basically, I used the for the overall color of the suit. I used the medium sea gray, so I just painted them all completely that color. Then I came back and just put a little black paint on the tip of my my pick here, and did the black on the visors, and just put a little drop on the shoulder here too for where the patches are supposed to be, just to give a little detail. And then I used my pointer again to just keep putting a little, the slightest amount of black on there, and just kind of draw these lines on the front where their zippers are. I guess these are supposed to be their zippers. I don't know if you can really see it now that I've got them in place here, but I did the zipper down the front and then the belt around their waists. So I did that, and then I came back and mixed the paints with the XF18. And the just using my gloss black, mixed the paint. I think it was 70% black and like 30% XF medium blue. And the colors are pretty good. I just took my fine point brush and just painted on the helmet, and got that done. So it turned out pretty well. So we got that done. The next step is to put the back part here together. And first thing I got to do though is put this computer screen in place. Let me show you what I did here with this computer screen. If that shows up very well on camera there. I don't know because my viewfinder just froze up. There we go. Well, you can see I made an actual screen on there. A little blue see-through screen. And basically what I did was I took my pin vise here. And I took my thinnest, or my smallest drill bit, which is this Dremel kit here. These Dremel drill bits are available around Dremel tools at Lowe's or Home Depot. But 1/32 is the smallest drill bit that's in that. I just use that to kind of drill holes around where the screen's supposed to go. And then once I got a couple drilled in, I used my hobby knife to cut out the window. And took a little bit of my UV resin here, which you can get off Amazon. That's where I got this from. This is Decorom, D-E-C-O-R-R-O-M. And it's UV resin. It's what I've been using. It's inexpensive compared to some of the other ones, but it works just as well as far as I could tell. And so I got that, and then I got my little UV light pen here. And so you just take that UV resin, I put this face down on a piece of tape. And I just took the UV resin and dabbed it in there. Or not face down, I put it face up, sorry. Face up on a piece of tape, and then I took my UV resin, dabbed it in there until it filled the screen, and I hit it with my UV light. And of course that makes the resin harden up, and you end up with a film on there that you can paint. And what I did was I took some of my Tamiya clear blue and just painted the back side of that. And now I've got a transparent screen. So like I was saying, my thought is just to put this down here, and I'm going to put a light behind it. And you can see here, if you can make this out, but I drilled a hole right here in the screen. Back this out a little bit. Right in the screen where the screen's supposed to go. I drilled a hole right here, and that's going to let me run a LED or a SMD. I ordered some more SMDs, so I didn't have, I want to put a blue SMD in here, and I had to order some. I didn't have any blue SMDs. I've got the bright white SMDs, and that's all I've got. And I just want a little more of a blue cast from it. I know that screen, because I used the blue one, it's going to put a little bit of a blue cast, but I think a blue light behind that will really add to it. And I'll cast some light through this screen here. So basically I could take my screen now, and let's get a little bit of glue here. Go ahead and fix this screen in place, because I'm all done with that part. I'll take this here, put a little glue around the edges. And I'll take my 5-point tweezers here, and we'll just drop this screen in place. I'm going to get it to fit over the edges of the keyboard here. There we go. And we'll just hold that in place for a minute. Try not to grab something. I don't want to take a chance getting fingerprints on anything. Drop a little more glue on the top of this. And let that dry for a second. But so I've gotten everything else pretty much painted for what we're going to need for right now. I'm going to do a little bit of filling on that. Let's see if I can get some light up in here. Let's see if that's going to... Yeah. LED light's going dead. Yeah, you're really not gonna be able to see. I gotta put a LED up in there, and I'll see if I can put an LED together real quick, and come back and we'll see if we can get some light and see what it's gonna look like coming out of the computer screen. So give me a minute and we'll come back. Alright guys, so I just rigged up a blue LED I had real quick, and you can see what that looks like. There's the screen, and that's the cast. So that actually looks like it's gonna work out pretty good like I wanted it to. It's gonna give a little bit of a blue cast, and it's brighter on camera than it is in person. Camera's picking up a little more, but you can see it's definitely going to put a blue cast on it, which is what I want. So I'm going to have some different light sources going on in here. I'm going to have that, and then I'm going to have let me turn my main light back on. I'm not sitting here in the dark. Alright, but testing that out real quick, preliminary, it looks like it's going to show through pretty good. I actually might be able to get away with using, probably could get away with using LED, but I'm going to have to do some lights on the backside of these panels once I get them on to backlight these, and I don't know if there's going to be enough room to do a LED. That's why I was going to use SMDs. And I'd rather just use the same type of light source throughout the model if I could. So I think I'll wait, and I've got those on order. I should have them hopefully here next week, and I can get that. I don't have to worry about it until I'm ready to seal this inside of the Airwolf body itself. So I've got some time. So I'll wait for those to come in. But anyway, that's all together, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of fill on this because there's a little bit of a gap. God, it's hard to put my fingers where I don't want. A little bit of a gap on the screen here, and I don't want the blue to show through there. So I'm going to have to do just a little bit of fill and then some touch-up painting, and then that should be good to go. So I'm going to do that because I need to do that before we start putting these panels and sidewalls and all on. So give me a little bit of time and we'll come back again, and we'll hopefully be ready to seal this up. Stay tuned. There you guys, so I got that gap filled in at the computer screen there. So she's all filled in and touched up. I got to get a new camera at some point. Camera sucks. But so she's all good to go there, and I'm ready to put the walls on now. So one thing I do want to say about those before we put these walls on, make sure you scrape the paint off the bottom edge where you're going to be gluing that, so that way you make sure that you're getting good glue contact. And also you can see I scraped right along the edge here. Yeah. Keep trying to pull this light over. You see where I scraped the paint right here, right along the edge where the wall needs to adhere to, so that way you get a good strong bond there. I did want to say one thing though. I did order some. It was recommended the zinc chromate paint. And I did order some. Well, I didn't order some. They had it at the local Hobby Lobby, so I went down and picked it up. And I'm not going to use it though. I still think it just doesn't look right. It's just way bright to me, and I've never seen anything that bright in the cockpit. Of course, we're talking about cameras from the mid '80s, but still, I don't see anything coming even close to that color. So I'm just going to leave it as it is, and that's the way I'm going to do it. I don't see anything close to that color in there, and so anyway, I've got it. I took a look at the zinc chromate. It's still really yellow, and I think it's just way too bright for that cockpit. I did think about going to maybe a light gray, because really the only time so far I'm in the second season, and really the only time you see shots of Dom in the cockpit or in the back here is from this side facing, it would be this side here. It's really from this side looking, with the camera facing kind of up in this way. So the only time you see anything is up here, and if anything, it looks like it might even be like a light gray up there. I don't see anything that shows a tan or even a yellow. Definitely not a yellow color, but it could still be the lighting too. But if anybody's got any better reference photos for this part of the cockpit, please share them, because I haven't seen anything that indicates that it was that bright. But at any rate, I like the tan. I'm good with it. I'm going to leave it like that. and I'm just going to get it glued together, and that way I can move on to this next part. Let's see, let's get my medium. Let's put some medium super glue in here, CA glue. Take my pin here, get some on the tip here. And again, I like to do it this way just because it keeps me from putting too much glue and having it running down the front of the piece here and getting all over my graphics that I've got on here. So get this lined up. And there are little notches that these go into. Just make sure that gets a good contact there. Just take a look at it, make sure that wall is straight and not pushing it in too much. Alright, so we've got one side on there. And I think the way to put this on is going to be to start with either side. I started with this side. Put these sides on because it looks like this back piece is going to push in to kind of lock this together in the back. And then your roof's going to go on and catch this notch on the top here as well as the notches on the side. So this is definitely, the top is definitely the last part to put in. I do want to point out on here too though that I want to try to get some more lighting up in here as much as possible, so at least you can hopefully see the back of this. And when you watch the show, there's lights in this roof. They're square. I just did these and drilled these round. I'm not going to worry about trying to make them square. You're not going to really see these, but the light coming out of them should help. So I just drilled 2 holes back here in the back and filled them in with my UV resin, and you can kind of see the light shining through there a little bit. So I'm hoping I put an LED up here, and I light block this as well. And if you're new to modeling, you don't understand light block. Basically, light blocking is just taking a black, or some people use silver, or some people even use tape. But you just light block in the back of this so that when I put an LED up here to show through these holes, it's not lighting up this whole piece, because this is a white piece here. It'll light up real easy. So I light blocked the back of it, and I got it ready to go. So let's go ahead and get this other side attached now that this has had a minute to kind of sit there. It's a real shame that show only lasted for well, technically 4 seasons, but honestly I don't make sure I'm getting this right in here where it's supposed to go. I don't count the 4th season too much. I mean, really the 4th season was only there to make it to where USA Network, who I guess bought the rights to the show, could syndicate the show if they wanted to, and they reused all the shots or all the shots of Airwolf. They lost the rights or the access to Airwolf that 4th season, so basically all the shots are rehashes from the first 3 seasons. But I mean, I guess it wouldn't have been unexpected because it was kind of an expensive show to produce. I think I read it was costing like $1.5 million an episode. And hell, Jan Michael Vincent was the highest paid actor on television at that time. He was getting, I think, $250,000 an episode. So it was a right expensive show to produce, especially with all the, I'm sure the fellow that owned jet copters that had Airwolf and all the, I think he owned the Santini helicopter too. Actually, I think he owned just about all the helicopters they used in that show, but I'm sure he made a good chunk of change off of that show. Surprised he made the decision to return Airwolf to its former state as a regular Bell and sell it off. Sure would like to find out who's got the original props. I know somebody's got the original molds for the parts that attach to the outside of Airwolf that Andrew Probert did up. It'd be kind of cool to see those. I don't know if he has them on display anywhere, if they're just hidden away somewhere from the prying eyes of fans. But it would be pretty cool to see them. Okay. A little more super glue in here. This part just kind of sticks into these holes right here. There's that side. There we go. That just all fell into place. It's really too bad you're not going to see much of this cockpit once I get done with it. But hopefully when those SMDs get in, I get them hooked up, we can take a look at this thing and see what we got. Let's see if my LED will caught my flashlight. I got to get new batteries, but I need. Let's turn this light off. Probably easier. Yeah, you can see how it's going to light up in there once I get a LED in there to kind of light everything up. I got to do some light blocking down there at the bottom edge. You can see there's a little bit of light bleed through there. Let's see if the other side lights up too. Yep, the other side will light up nice too. So all those controls should be nice and lit in there. And I think I'm going to hold off gluing this part in place yet. I'm going to lay it on there a minute just to get an idea of how small of a view we're going to get here. Yep, all that'll line up. Come on. LED light's going dead. Need more batteries. Yeah, you're really not going to be able to see the light through that because the flashlight's going dead on me. But it should light it up pretty nice though. I don't think you're going to be able to make that out in the camera. But yeah, those two little lights in the back will work nice. It's going to give a little backlighting there, and then once I have that blue light in the front to light up the front of Dominic's figure there, that should look pretty nice in the back. Hopefully we'll be able to see some of it. It's going to be a shame if we're not able to see any of it. But like I said, I'm not going to glue that on yet. I'm going to wait until I get my lights together and do that right before I put it in place inside the hull. And so that completes everything up to, let's see, step 7. So step 7, we've got all of our sidewalls in place here. And the next thing is we got a couple of foot controls here, and it looks like we've got the well where the front landing gear is going to insert. This calls for a polystyrene sleeve in the front here. I've got all these parts painted up. This polystyrene sleeve, I believe, is actually in this bag with these, I think these are parts to the base. So it took me a second to find these, but I believe these are your polyethylene sleeves here that go in there, and what those are for is so that you can take the landing gear off and you can mount it in the flying position if you want. But I haven't decided yet if I'm going to mount it in the landed position or if I'm going to put it up on the stand that it calls for you to build here. So that's something I've got to think on and make a decision about. I did want to say I did have I had talked, I think last episode, about the anthracite gray metallic, or anthracite gray, or I don't know if it's supposed to be a gray metallic, but I got it in. It's a little Revel can here. It's a little paint can, and I took it out and put it all in the jar because it's easier to handle with the jar than to keep prying this lid off here like a regular paint can. But so I got this in, and I did a test spray on it, and I'll show you the results here. I just got this taped together right now, but it's actually not far off from what I already had painted on here. There's a little more gray to the anthracite. The only thing about it is there's not really any metallic to it. It's basically a flat, maybe I wouldn't even say a semi-gloss. It's kind of a flat paint. But I like it. I mean, it looks really good. I think it looks, I think John was right about this. I think it looks pretty damn close to what it should be, but it's just missing the metallic feature of it. So I'm thinking what I might do is the same thing I did on this side, but instead of dusting it with black, with a semi-gloss black, I think I'm going to try dusting it with the anthracite and see what kind of result I get with that. If it can give me a little bit of the metallic and just dust it with the anthracite and kind of bring it down a little bit, I think that'll look dead on. But I like this paint though, this Revel. Yeah, I mean, not that paint's going bumpy or anything out of my airbrush, but this went on like butter. I mean, it was like smooth silk almost. It just went on so easy and smooth and even, and so I really like this paint. I might have to order some more of these in some different colors. So John, I appreciate the recommendation for that. I really like these paints. I know you didn't recommend this specific brand, but this is what I found it in, and this is what I ordered in. I really like these Revel paints. They are really nice. They go on real nice out of an airbrush, and like I said, I think I might have to order some more of these, but you can see the contrast there between the anthracite and the what was supposed to be a gray paint. And this is, like I said, this is Insignia White, which has kind of got like a gray shade to it. So, but at any rate, I've got to mull that over a little bit. I think I am going to still use the gunmetal first as a base coat, and then dust over it now with this anthracite gray, because I really like this anthracite gray better. I like the sheen on it. I like the finish to it. It's just missing that little bit of metallic, kind of metallic sheen to it that I got from this side by dusting over it with the black. So I'm gonna give that a try and see how that turns out before I do my final sweep or paint the parts I'm actually going to use, which are the actual black molded parts is what I'm going to use for the build. I'm glad they included the clear parts though, because they've come in handy as a test. So, but at any rate, so onto the build. So I've got my foot pedals here, and I've got them all painted up and cleaned up, and one end of it cut out. And let me just scrape some paint off where this has to attach. Because like I said, you want to try to scrape a little paint off and leave it just bare plastic when you do these, because otherwise what'll happen is the glue can attach to just the paint surface, and then you got parts popping off because it didn't get a good connection to to where you needed it to go. So let's see here. So this needs to, we're going to need tweezers for this. Until now, this is going to be a little tight spot to get this into. I'm going to cut this off a little bit above the part because I'm not quite certain how much of this I need. Where the okay, I see there's a little bit of a break on it there. Alright, and once I got those foot pedals cut off, that's it for this this tree. It's all done. So we can, anytime you toss out one of these, so just look it over one last time, make sure that you've got every part off of here that you need. I can tell you, if you've been following along with me and you put out the parts on this, once you take those foot pedals off, this is pretty much done. There's no other parts left on that. So we've got that off, and I'm just going to come back with my hobby knife and trim off a little bit of a stub that's on here. And I might do a little bit of touch up down here. I'm trying to see if this part is going to show any through the floor, because you got a window on the floor there, and I think I might have to touch this up with a little bit of flat black on the bottom here, but I can do that after I've got the part attached. Actually, I'll have to do it right now. Get these parts installed so I'm not holding y'all up on camera watching me paint and stuff. Alright, so you're going to want a pair of tweezers for this because they've got to go in pretty tight, and these are going to go in with the pedals facing up. Actually, I'm going to do my tweezers this way, and we're going to take a little bit of glue here. It goes right on the end here because there's not a very big contact point on this for this part. It's going to go right there. Yeah, I'll have to touch that up a little bit because I think that's going to show through the glass on the bottom. On the bottom there. Let's see here. Grab that. Glue on there. And I apologize, yeah, I do mumble to myself sometimes when I'm building. I'm sure I'm not the only one that does it. I'm sitting here building a model and I'm just mumbling along, incoherent. My wife has a habit of walking in and thinks I'm talking to her. I said, nope, just talking to myself, dear. That's what I do. Oops. A little bit too far with that. It's kind of a tight spot. You got to get these pedals to fit through. And it's got to be precisely in the holes there. Alright. So we got our pedals in place. And don't worry, your figure's feet ain't quite going to sit on them. I got the pedal right there. It's kind of a tight spot they got to fit into. So, got those pedals in place. That's part 122 that goes in there. And then we've got some parts off of this tree here. Cut this off. I've already painted these, like I said, so these are all ready to go. Clean up the sprue edge a little bit. Another reason for you want to clean up that sprue edge because some of these parts are kind of a tight fit, and if you have a bit of sprue on there still, it's not going to fit in there like it's supposed to. All right, so this part here, I'll get my tweezers. This part here, this is part 98. Just a little black piece that we got to put one of those washers into, and I guess we might as well do that while we've got this part out here. Cut this open so I can grab one of these out. Yeah, these are more rubbery. They drop that because you never find that on the floor. It's a clear piece. And if you drop that on the floor, especially if you have carpet, which I don't here, but it doesn't say whether or not to glue this in. I'm going to assume I do glue it in. Otherwise, it's going to come out every time I go to remove the wheel. That part just got to get it to squeeze on in there. All right, there we go. So what we've got is, you see the little rubber piece that's in there now, and I glued it in there so that way it won't come out, because I think that's all that is to hold the top of the landing gear in there when you want to put landing gear on it and make it use it in the landed position. So we got that in there. And now I'm going to take this, and the way this goes in, you've got these two notches on the back here. You got these notches, and you see these notches are further back to one side than the other. You want the longer side to be facing towards the back when you put it in here. So you can look at your directions. It shows you that you want to have more of this, the longer part facing towards the back. And that's, I guess, to properly position it. I don't know if it would cause an issue if you put it in wrong, but I don't want to find out here. So you see where then the longer end is towards, that goes towards the back, and there's a little notch down in here. This is kind of a tight fit to get it to squeeze down in here. I don't know if it's supposed to sit flush down there. So it's kind of a tight fit. Alright, let me pull this back out a minute. See what we got here. Oh, okay, I see. So you got 1, 2, 3. So you want that in the, you want that to be in the front one. All right. So there's actually 3 little ribs on each side of the wall in here. 3 little ribs in here that so it doesn't sit all the way down to the bottom of this, but there's 3 little ribs that stick up on each side of the wall. And if you look at your picture on here, you want those notches to be in that front, those first set of ribs on each side when you stick this in. So that's how that part goes in. It's not going to sit all the way down the bottom. It's not supposed to. When I first looked at this, it looked like it was showing it sitting all the way down the bottom, but that's not what it means. It basically wants it to sit in the ribs there. So that's how it sits, and that's where your front landing gear will get inserted when you want to put it in there. So we've got that part in. The only thing left in this stage is we've got a couple little pieces that go on the bottom here, and I have no idea what they're for yet, but they are the last pieces on this tree at this point, and they are very small pieces that have to go on here. So alright, let's see how they got to go on. Just be very careful when you clip these, hold on to them, because if they go flying off somewhere, again, these pieces are so small that you probably won't find it. Alright, and again, that tree is empty. Done. So whittling it down. Alright, so trying to see how these go on here. Let's see. So that part, okay, so these basically connect from the floor here up to the pedals that we had put on. So what we've got to do is you're definitely going to need, God, these parts are so intricate that Aoshima did on this kit. They are very small parts. It's going to have to be trimmed a little bit. I still got a little bit of tree on there. Be careful with these parts because they are so small. I'm going to just trim it with my scissors, because if I tried to do it with my hobby knife, I'd probably end up breaking the part. So grab it from the bottom here, and we'll do a little bit of glue on it. There's a little depression on the bottom of on the bottom of the pedals here, the floor, that these have to go onto. Probably should have put these on first, because that would dictate where those pedals need to be to connect to this. Oh, that's all right, because that in there. So got that one in place, and my pedals fell forward a little bit, so probably got to put a little dab of glue on those to hold those in place. Man, these are some really small, intricate parts that we're going to be doing on here. I almost need my magnifying glass just to see the part. Get pieces from the towel in there. Alright, got that. That is a small part on there. That is some fine scale modeling there that Aoshima has put into this model. I'm almost afraid to even trim that stub off of this because there's such a small part there. Side. Whew. I think I got that in there. You might not even be able to see it on camera. These are such small parts. See if I can get it around there. My camera doesn't want to zoom, so probably not going to be able to show you that part. It's so small, but it's there. So, matter of fact, I think if you lost one of those pieces, I wouldn't worry too much about it because you're not going to notice that damn thing's even on there. So, but anyway, let's see where we at here. I'm going to do that other side off camera because it just takes a minute to do these, and I don't want to keep y'all sitting here waiting on me. So let me set these on here so I can see them. And let's see. So our next part is going to be actually gluing, and I can't do that until I get my SMD up in there for that monitor. We're actually going to be gluing it to the base here. So I think we're going to call it a wrap for this episode. I'm probably getting kind of long. The first two have been longer than what I usually like to. I usually try to keep my episodes down to about 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach those last two pieces like I just showed you on camera. I'm going to do it off camera because I don't want to sit here another 5 minutes trying to do those things and y'all just sitting here. So anyway, about ready to finish closing this up. I'm just waiting on some SMDs to come in the mail, and then we can start working on part 9, step 9 there. And what I might do in the meantime is start working on some of these. We've got these landing gear we got to do, and the guns have to be done, and the ADF pod has to be. I've got to work on that too. So I've got to figure out how I want to do this ADF pod. It comes in chrome, which is cool, but there's a lot of black that needs to be put onto this as well. So I got to figure out the best way I'm going to do that and work on that, and that might take a little bit of time. So while I'm waiting for those lights to come in, I'm going to work on that, and we'll get another episode done here in a little bit. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching these. I appreciate the feedback I've been getting on it. A lot of people have been getting use out of these videos, and hopefully when this model comes out, you guys can use this information to kind of build your own. But at any rate, again, thank you to my sponsors. Just a note. Plastic cups are not good for using paint thinner in. They will melt, but just notice that. But at any rate, thanks again to Cass over at Lake Monster Details for sponsoring me, and Gus over at GCals who, if you haven't seen, is working on the 1350 Aztecs for the NX01, which I've got sitting over here for Brian, waiting to finish up. I've got a couple little details. You can see I'm doing some more work on it still, but it's turning out really good. But at any rate, you guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. If you want to get these updates and you want to see the videos when they come out, please hit the subscribe button below and support me that way. Or if you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to, but hit that like button down below. Leave me a comment if you feel like it. At any rate, guys, thanks again for watching. Till next time, keep modeling.